Margaret Illukol is a remarkable young woman. She has courage, determination and faith, which has helped her survive an horrific attack in a remote Ugandan village when she was just 8 years old. It may sound unbelievable, but she was carried off by a hyena. Margaret has since had more than 30 major plastic surgery operations and countless minor ones. We must warn you that in this story there may be scenes that could offend you. Ros Taylor reports.
Into her village in northeast Uganda and attacked her while she was sleeping. The hyena grabbed her and dragged her for a short distance, and by the time villagers could fight the animal off, most of her face was eaten away. Margaret was carried 160 kilometres by members of her tribe to the nearest mission hospital where she received first aid treatment. By the time she reached Kampala, 800 kilometres away, infection had set in and doctors battled to keep her alive before they could attempt any reconstructive surgery. Margaret says the whole thing was just like a bad dream.
I can remember that, and that it's sort of like a dream, you know, like you had a nightmare, and when you wake up, it's all gone. But this was a nightmare, which was, when after I woke up, I found out it was real. It was a nightmare. It's a dream, a bad dream.
Professor Joe Shepherd is the Professor of Surgery at the University of Tasmania. In 1963, he was a lecturer at the University of East Africa in Kampala and was the first to treat Margaret.
When she first arrived, we had to try and stop her from dying from infection because she had so many raw areas on the face, and we had to cover them over with skin grafts, take away all the dead tissue, take away all the dead bone, and just try to keep her alive for the first few weeks.
And where did you go from there?
Once we'd got that hazard over and we were quite sure she was going to survive, then I started to think about the long-term future and decided that we'd try and rebuild her face to some extent. I wasn't a plastic surgeon, but I knew a little bit about plastic surgery, and we managed to bring in enough tissue to reconstruct her face and make her able to set off and go to school.
What was actually involved in rebuilding Margaret's face?
There were very basic operations that have been known to surgery for actually hundreds of years, of raising skin and the underlying tissue, allowing the blood supply to alter so that you could then divide one end of what's called a flap and move it from place to place.
She certainly must be a very courageous girl.
She is a girl of great character. She showed a tremendous determination to live. In the very worst of circumstances, she still displayed great humour. She had great courage, and she's a girl of faith, too.
Do you think that helps?
I'm sure it helps. I think it was Ambrose Paré, a great French surgeon, who said, "I treat the wound, but God heals the patients."
Now Margaret is looking after her own patients. With the help of the Toronto Rotary Club near Newcastle, she was given a high school education and trained as a nursing sister. She's now working at the Royal Newcastle Hospital.
It's what I've wanted to do since I went into hospital, mainly because when I was attacked, there was no medical attention I received. And because of that, you know, I wanted to become a nurse. That's the reason why I wanted to become a nurse.
Instrumental in bringing Margaret to Australia was Nightingale Kalinda, a Ugandan occupational therapist who treated Margaret initially. Nightingale wrote to Rotary International, and the Toronto Club took Margaret into their hearts and gave her a home, education and a future.
I'm very proud of what the Australian International Rotary and everybody else in Australia has put in towards the success of her project of a new face, not on a new face, but education and making her into a lady. I'm so proud of. When I came here, I couldn't believe my eyes to see her looking like she is now.
It's hard to say thank you because it's so much that has been done. And just a mere thank you is not enough. It's nothing ever. It's going to make up for what has been done. And I'm just lost for words.
That story not only shows the great human courage Margaret displays, but also the wonderful work that service clubs like Rotary and others do throughout the world. And the Toronto Club has given 10 years of its time to Margaret and spent almost $200,000 on her project alone. And Dr. Bill Walker of Newcastle, who did much of the magnificent reconstructive surgery, has just been given the highest award in honour of his work from International Rotary, a Paul Harris Fellowship. And congratulations to all those members who have gone to make Margaret's life a much better one in this country.